Hey everybody, hope you're doing well. We start our little homework assignment for tonight. That'll be due Tuesday. Call it 2.3, the div and span tags IP. And we're beginning right now looking at our least favorite website of all time, the Speedrome website, which we've started to figure out how to do a lot of if we want to make a better version of this, right? We can add headings, we can change the color of things, we can add a link like this clicks on, make an image, make a button like we have up here at the top. That's pretty cool. But it seems high in time we learned the basis of what this website is doing. And you'll remember as you look at my cursor on the right over here that there were a million of these tags when we started to look through this that had different attributes inside of them. Remember, our word attribute is that component that's inside of the code. And I had our little slash div element. What I really want to do today is talk about div and its partner tag as a little bit of an introduction, such that you can use it to make our website a little bit more. Let's say we got a normal website, a website about my favorite food of all time. And I'm going to write 2 paragraphs about fish sticks. They're chewy and delicious. And my little slash p tag in there. They're always fresh. And they're straight. Actually, they're really good frozen. If you ever tried fish sticks straight out of the freezer, highly recommend it. That's part of your homework. Do try that over the weekend. So I've got my little website right here that's starting. Just got some basic components of my paragraphs that are adding on here. And you might remember that we can say, for example, background color of a paragraph if we want to. Maybe I really want to make it blue, so that it looks a little bit stylized. And maybe I want all of these paragraphs to have some sort of matching color. You know, when you look at that, it just kind of looks like some weird inverted American. I can add a background color to this, but what would look a little bit better would be if I wanted to change all 3 of these at once. So they had one big square background. That, my friends, is what the div tag is for. At the top of the page, I'm making a little comment in HTML. Tag where you start with an exclamation point is called a comment, and I can write some notes to myself that I want to keep in mind when I work. The div tag is good for grouping things together, making the same change. You can see where this pops up all the time in the Speedrome website, right? They've grouped these buttons together. They've grouped together these 2 different elements on the black background here. They seem to have figured that out. Our div tag allows us to group things together and make the same. Wherever I want to start making my change, say for example, I want to change all 3 of these so that they have one big background color on the back. I've made a comment here that just says start change. That's not part of our actual code. That's just a little reminder. This is where our change is starting. Div tag there. And wherever I want to end my change, I'm going to put the slash div tag. Remember, slash is our closing tag, and if you click on it, you'll see that it underlines the div tag up here at the top. It says, hey, I know that. I know that that's where I'm supposed to make a change. Just like we can add attribute that changes the color to any of the individual elements, like the paragraph. See how I just did that for P? I can also add that to my div tag. And when I add it to my div tag, it's going to go and group and change these whole things, any of the style tags will work. So I can also say, for example, change all of them to have blue text real easily, as you can see at the bottom, or create a section in my code with a border around the entire outside of it. Because I put div style equals border here, slash div goes all the way under, really good frozen, and wherever I put my slash div is where this is going to end. Let me just demonstrate that for you real quick. If I take my slash div tag and put it up here, my code will only go around the top two because my starting div tag is before the first paragraph and my slash is after the second. I'm going to go ahead and keep it around all three for the time being. And that's a basic demonstration of how the div tag works that we'll start to implement. On your assignment, you should have had a little table like this. I've just shown you the purpose and example change of the div tag. Showed you what the purpose was, showed you an example of what you can change using the div tag, what kind of changes you can make. I want to see if you can give another example. Could you think of another change we could make with this tag specifically on a web page? What else could you use the div tag for on a web page? Go ahead and pause your video and fill out these three boxes for your notes. And once you're feeling good about that, you can go ahead and start it. The interesting thing about our div tag is that it always starts a new line. So for example, if I were to take it and put it after always and fresh won't be in the same sentence anymore. It'll push it down the start of the next line whenever it ends. See how fresh moved down here? So what if I wanted to make a change? Rather than grouping component of them together, maybe I wanted to change just one word. Maybe fresh, I want to make like bright green, show that these fish sticks are healthy and nutritious. Green is this healthy, awesome color. You know fish sticks are good for you. I feel like you're feeling that. The corresponding tag we have changed just one thing, called the span tag. Span tag will change one element of code in line, which means it doesn't start a new line. It can go right in the middle of a sentence. So if I go down to my word fresh here, and I put span before, and just like any good tag, put span afterwards, now I can create a change that applies to just this word. Say, for example, I wanted to make the text color green. Show how fresh fish sticks are. I've got span style equals color colon green. I've added it, span right there. Maybe I'll make it an interesting color. Maybe I'll make it like bright green. We'll see if it takes that. Doesn't like that. We'll do sea green, like the sea. Aha, R. And bada bing, bada boom, I've just changed that one little element of my web page. You've figured out how to add a lot of things to your code. You figured out how to make headings, paragraphs, buttons, and links. Your job for your homework tonight is to think a little bit about how all of this fits together. So, now that you've seen an example of the span tag, you'll also see the example code posted at the top of this IP. Make sure you fill it in this table so that you've given the purpose of the span tag, the example change I gave in the video, and another change you think you could make with the span. What else could you change based on what its purpose is? Give an example of that. That's going to help us make a cool website in the coming days. And then I've got a couple of practice problems that I want you to answer before you hit submit. For 1A and 1B, it asks you explain whether you would use the div or span tag to make the following changes in the code. Change the color of the word website to green, add a background color to each of the sections. So this is saying, if you're going to make these changes, would you use div or span for each one? Explain your answer. And then on question 2, we actually have the implementation of the code. It asks you to change the color of just the word website. And it asks you to change each section, like heading and paragraph together, such that each has a combined background color, just like we showed 3 paragraphs on this page. Which tag would you use for that? And how would you put it into your code? Good luck. This will be due Tuesday at the start of class. We'll start working with the div and span tags, and this is kind of our last big chunk of HTML code as we learn the basics. Feel free to email me if you have any questions. And have a great weekend.